Thank you for watching Why I Killed You TV. Please make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share this particular video on this particular YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate that. On October the 23rd, 1989, Boston, Massachusetts, a young couple named Charles and Carol Stuart were excited about the birth of their first baby. Charles, also called Chuck, was 29 years old and Carol was 30. They seemed happy, ready to start their family, but everything changed very quickly. Charles was born on October the 18th, 1959 in Revere, Massachusetts, a working class town just outside of Boston. He grew up in a big Catholic family with several brothers and sisters. His father worked hard and raised the kids with strong values. Charles was polite, respectful, and did well in school. He went to Northeast Metropolitan Regional Vocational High School where he studied cooking. Some people thought he was nice, but others said he acted like he was better than everyone else. He had a close relationship with his mom, who also raised him. Charles dreamed of becoming rich and living a fancy life. He went to Salem State for a little while, but he didn't finish. He also lied about going to Brown University and playing football there. That was a lie. That was not true. In 1978, while working as a cook in a seafood restaurant, he met Carol, a waitress. Charles liked her right away, but was too shy to say anything to her. Her co-workers helped by telling Carol that he had a crush on her. Her dad also worked at the restaurant, but he wasn't impressed with Charles, especially since he didn't have any money. Carol had just gotten out of another relationship, and eventually she and Charles started dating. He sent her flowers and gifts, trying hard to impress her, and in the early 1980s they talked about getting married. Carol was finished with her college degree and wanted to go to law school. That made Charles want to do better for his life as well. He got a job in a fur store in Boston, even though he had no experience. He did very well and later became the manager. He started making good money and spent a lot of money on himself and Carol. Her father started to like him. Soon Carol got into her dream law school and Charles started to support her. Carol was outgoing and social while Charles was very quiet and private, which made people wonder, how did that relationship work? In 1983, Charles proposed at a fancy restaurant. Carol said yes and happily told her entire family. Carol's family was Italian and very close. Her older brother was a teacher and their parents wanted their kids to have a good education. Carol was smart and hardworking. She helped pay for school while working during high school. Carol had dated another guy before. His name was Jeff, and her dad really liked him. He hoped that Jeff would marry her one day. However, since Charles was treating her well, he didn't stop the engagement. They planned a big wedding, but waited until Carol finished school. In 1985, Carol graduated and Charles got promoted at his job as well. He was earning even more money. Carol got a good job too, so they bought a home and rented out half of it. On October the 13th, 1985, they got married in a big Italian wedding full of love and family. They went to the Bahamas for their honeymoon. Charles stayed focused on making money and Carol dreamed of starting a family. They decided to wait until they were more financially secure. They both worked very hard and always made time for each other. They called each other at work and took trips together. Carol always said good things about Charles, but some people thought he was a little controlling because she always had to check in with him when she went out. Charles, he handled the money in the household. He pushed Carol to find a job that paid more. In 1987, they sold their home and bought a bigger one in the suburbs with a pool. Charles loved showing off his success. He bought fancy clothes and talked about opening his own restaurant. He even started taking restaurant management classes. But after a few years, Charles started being mean towards Carol. He started talking about her weight, especially during meals. Carol would laugh it off, but it was apparent it was hurting her feelings. Carol began talking more about wanting a baby, but Charles always put it off. He said it was never the right time. He said money was the problem. A friend later said Charles never wanted kids. Over time, Charles started acting colder towards Carol. He barely talked about her at work, and his co-workers didn't even know he was married. In 1989, a new woman named Debbie started working in his department, and Charles became obsessed with her. He told a friend while drunk that he wanted to ask her out. Around this time, Carol happily announced she was pregnant. Charles didn't take the news very well. He didn't want the baby. He even asked Carol to consider an abortion. She said no. For Carol, having a baby was a dream. The couple began fighting more. Charles even stopped talking to Carol because of the pregnancy. He went out drinking more and got closer to Debbie. Some co-workers thought Charles and Debbie were flirting, or even more, even though she had a boyfriend. By October of 1989, Carol was 7 months pregnant. Charles still wasn't excited, but he did start going to parenting classes and helped buy some baby items. On October the 23rd, 1989, both went to work like usual. Carol was supposed to pick Charles up after work, and they planned to go to one of their parenting classes, but they never made it. At 11 p.m., Charles called 911 and said he and Carol had been carjacked and shot. He told the operator that Carol had been shot in the head and he had been shot in the stomach. Emergency services rushed to help. Carol was badly hurt and had to deliver the baby early. Their son Christopher was born that night, but was in bad shape. Carol died that night. Christopher passed away 2 weeks later. Charles survived after surgery. Charles told police that the attacker was a black man wearing a dark tracksuit with a red stripe and had a raspy voice. He said the man robbed them both, took Carol's ring and her purse, and then shot them. One suspect was a man by the name of Willie Banette. He had a criminal record. On December the 28th, 1989, Charles picked him out of a police lineup and said he was 99% sure that he was the shooter. Willie was arrested and the media spread the story like wildfire. After getting out of the hospital, Charles collected a big life insurance payoff of over $200,000. He started spending the money on luxurious items, including a new car, jewelry, and people believe he was giving it to Debbie. He might have gotten away with everything except for one big surprise. On January the 3rd, 1990, Charles's brother Matthew went to the police. He told them Charles had given him a big bag the night of the shooting. Inside was the murder weapon, Carol's purse, her ring, and her wallet. Matthew thought he was helping fake a robbery and hid the items before dumping them in a river. The police later recovered them. It turned out Charles had planned the whole thing. He didn't want the baby. He didn't want to lose any money, and he didn't want to get a divorce. At first, he even joked about paying somebody to kill Carol. After nobody would agree, he did it himself. He had Matthew hide the evidence, but Matthew found out that an innocent man was being blamed. He felt guilty, and he told the truth. Right after Matthew went to the police, Charles's car was found near Tobin Bridge. Inside was a note saying that he was going to end his own life. The next day, his body was found in the water. Charles had taken his own life. Matthew was arrested and later went to prison for hiding evidence and insurance fraud. He served 3 to 5 years and was released in 1997. He was rearrested again and sadly died of an overdose in 2011 at a homeless shelter. This case hurt Boston's black community badly. When Charles lied and said a black man had attacked them, it caused the police to treat many innocent black people like suspects. People were stopped, searched, and arrested for no reason. The media believed Charles's story without checking facts, and it spread fear and racism. Willie Banette was falsely blamed, and his family was almost ruined. This case showed how dangerous it is to judge a person based upon their race. Carol Stuart had a bright future, and she was excited to be a mom. She and her baby son, Christopher, died because of a terrible lie. To honor them, Carol's parents started a charity and a scholarship fund at the Boston College where Carol went to school. Their kindness helped turn tragedy into a good reason to help other people.
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.